Good evening and welcome to the Town of Rockland's Board of Selectmen meeting for Tuesday, May 7th, 2024. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Chief Steele, can you start us off?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be advised that this open meeting is being broadcast live and recorded for playback by WRPS at youtube.com/WRPSRockland. Please go to WRPSRockland.com for further information. First on the agenda, community announcements. Doug?
Thanks, Mike. I actually have two announcements. The first is the community-wide yard sale on May 18th, and the rain date is May 19th. It starts at 8:30 a.m., and if you go to rocklandrec.org, the Rec Department's website, there'll be a map online that will show where all the different yard sales will be held. And then secondly, Joe Reese from the Parks Commissioners, who is also associated with the Rockland Legion Baseball, asked me to read a letter to the community under community announcements. So if I may, Mr. Chairman, I'll just quickly read this for the public. To the Town of Rockland, the status of the American Legion baseball program in Rockland is in jeopardy. For 23 years now, Joe Reese and Tom Roach, with the help of many dedicated individuals, have kept the Rockland American Legion baseball program and the Cranberry Baseball League Rockland Cardinals operational and functioning within the Rockland Athletic Club, founded 50 years ago this year. This year, however, the lack of interest from ball players in the American Legion program, combined with other available programs to choose to play in, it's become hard to field a Legion team. Joe Reese and Tom Roach chose to add the American Legion baseball program to the Rockland Athletic Club 23 years ago because they saw a need for a higher level of baseball in Rockland. It's with great sadness that we announce that it's time for some other individuals to step up and take over this worthy endeavor and save the Legion baseball program in Rockland. To Rockland ball players between 14 and 17 years old, this program depends on your interest. It is your town and your team to continue. The fate of Rockland American Legion Baseball is in your hands now. Finally, Joe Reese and Tom Roach would like to thank all the individuals that participated and donated their time and expertise to Legion Baseball, plus those who financially supported the Rockland Athletic Club over the past 50 years. Rest assured, the CBL Rockland Cardinals will continue to operate this 2024 season at Rockland's Veteran Memorial Stadium. We hope to see you around at the backstop. Tom Roach and Joe Reese from the Rockland Athletic Club. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Okay, next on the agenda, minutes from 4/16/2024. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I've got a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? All those recused? Thank you. Next on the agenda, under new business, joint vote with the planning board, appointment of David Cronin as associate member of the planning board. Chairman Corbett, you guys call your meeting into order yet?
Call the Rockland Planning Board into order.
Okay. Okay, Dave, you here? You want to come down front? Welcome. Obviously, thanks for your interest in the planning board. What interests you first to want to join and become a member of the planning board?
I just hear a few of the issues that are in town. Figured I could give my knowledge. I know on the planning board, a lot of their expertise is not in site work and utility work, and that's what I've been doing for 30 years. So that's where John has brought it up to my attention, that they could really use some help on that. And I was willing to help.
Anybody else have any questions for Dan?
No,
Dave?
makes perfect sense. Fantastic. So you're stepping up. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And you've been obviously a lifelong resident of the town.
Yes.
And so I have no issue with it. Anybody else have any issues? Nobody has any issues. I'll defer to the planning board to start with the voting process. Chairman Corbett?
All those in favor of having Dave be on the board? Aye. Vote.
And all those in favor?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. welcome. Now
It was
you're,
raining.
Thank you.
Now you're a part of it. Good luck leaving.
Thank you.
We got you now. Chairman Corbett, you want to dissolve your meeting?
Motion to adjourn, do I have a second? All those in favor?
Thank you, guys. Next on the agenda, Zoning Board of Appeals, member Stephen Galley, disclosure of appearance of conflict of interest, form submission.
Thanks, Mike. I'll just tee it up. Mr. Galley, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay,
Can you hear
great.
me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Great. So I'll just quickly give an
Thank you.
I'll just quickly give an introduction. So just to be clear, this is something we've been doing lately with various people, boards and committees, and I applaud everyone that's doing the right thing by filling out these forms. And I want to highlight that filing one of these forms does not mean that there actually is a conflict of interest. Part of the law deals with if there's even an appearance of a conflict of interest, so that's very important. And so if there's ever something that looks like there could be an appearance, the individual should fill out this disclosure form and then file it with their appointing authority. So if you're an elected official, that would go to the town clerk because the voters elect elected officials. In the case of a ZBA member, Zoning Board of Appeals, they're appointed by the Board of Selectmen. You're the appointing authority. So Mr. Galley is on the Zoning Board of Appeals. He actually has a Zoom meeting with the ZBA in a little bit. So the timing, I think, will just work out. So Mr. Galley, maybe with that, if you want to just very briefly just describe why you're filling out the form for the board's benefit so they can accept it.
Okay, good. Well, my connection's unstable, so if I lose you, forgive me. Well, it was just out of abundance of caution because I do work for a company that has had 2 very small invoices on the company at that location. So if it were to come up, it could potentially have the appearance of conflict of interest. But, so that's why I did it. Like I said, it was actually in 2020, so late 2020, so it's actually been a while. 2020 and 2021, I think. So, and they were very small invoices. They were just like a small bucket of oil. Like, it was not much and nothing since. And that's everything. It's just it's a small transaction, but just to be safe.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns?
No, thanks
Okay.
for doing this.
So I'll entertain a motion to accept Stephen Galley's disclosure appearance of conflict of interest.
Motion to accept is, did you say the whole?
No, you don't have to say the whole
Motion
thing.
to accept.
Motion to accept. Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Yep.
That's unanimous. Steve, thank you for filling that out. Appreciate it.
Thank
You're
you.
all set. Thanks very much, Stephen.
Thank you very much.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Yep.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, one-day liquor license approvals. Rockland Day, 6/15/24. Rain date, 6/16/24. Mr. Lucas. Welcome back.
Good evening, Board. I would like to ask for a one-day liquor license for Rockland Day this year. We have 3 vendors that will be supplying beer. The first one is Players Sports Bar from Rockland. The second one would be the 10th District Brewery from Abington. And the third one is the Black Hat Brewery from Bridgewater. I would also like to see if we could put on it a rain date for the following day. The first day is Saturday, June 15th, and a rain date of June 16th. If you remember last year, we got rained out on Saturday, and we had to have a special board meeting to transfer the license, so if we can be a little proactive and hopefully it stalls it or eliminates that possibility, I would like that, and I think you've all got the applications in your books for that day and from those people.
So one of the things I just do want to point out is that with the first 2 applicants, 10th District and Black Hat, they are listed from 2 to 9. Players does not have hours listed, but they will be from 11 o'clock in the morning, because when the parade commences, there's going to be a concert down at the middle school, and players will be down there, but then they'll also be up at the stadium at 2 o'clock when Rockland Day begins. So that would be from 11 o'clock for them. Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns?
Nope.
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion approved.
I have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second, all those in favor?
Yep.
It's unanimous. Thank you, John, appreciate it. Next on the agenda, Veterans Agent Tim White, update on Memorial Day observance. Tim, how are you? Welcome.
Very good.
Good to see
Good
you.
evening,
You.
Mr. Chair, members of the board. You probably already received the invite. I'm here to just mention Memorial Day observation ceremony on May 27th at 11 in the morning at the Veterans Memorial. So I'm here on behalf of the Rockland Allied Veterans Council. Just I wanted to be in person, inviting you all. Also let you know it is a ceremony, not a parade. I know there's plans for the 150th parade, so no conflicts there. The word has gone out to the veterans groups. The invite paperwork.
I just signed it 5 minutes ago.
Oh, perfect.
You'll have that by
Perfect.
tomorrow.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And just in case, if it is like a steady rain or something like that, we've asked permission to use the high school auditorium.
Okay.
Which in the past we've semi-planned, not planned, and hope for the best. More proactive this year. But anyway, so that's it. So May 27th, 11 a.m. at the Veterans Memorial will be the ceremony.
Anybody have any questions, comments?
Nope.
All right, seeing none. Thank you, Tim.
All right,
Appreciate
thank you
your
very
time.
much.
Thanks for the
Have a
input.
good night.
Okay, next on the agenda, release of completed requirement restriction to tear down existing structure at 320 Concord Street. Doug?
Thanks, Mike. So in your packet is a email request from an attorney representing the developer that purchased the property at 320 Concord Street that this town put up at auction several years ago. And in particular, they're requesting the board sign off on a release, which was to release a restriction that was included with the sale when this property was sold. And we ran this by town land use council, who recommended you do approve this. And the reason is because the condition that they're looking for the release has been met, which was to demolish the structure that was there when they purchased the property. So that demolition happened quite some time ago, but now that they're further along in their development plans, they're looking to have that release formalized so there's nothing attached to any potential mortgage someone might have. And again, Land Use Council recommends approval.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments?
Yes.
Okay.
Have there been any soil tests and stuff now that they've demolished that property? And, I mean, they plan to build, I'm assuming, housing there?
So yeah, they have an approved 40B, so it's going to be
Yeah.
4 units, 1 affordable on the site.
Okay, all right. I know that was kind of a blight property, and has the soil been tested and everything they've gone through?
I don't know
All
about
that.
that, but I mean,
Okay.
it wasn't a hazardous site. There was a home that was there.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't a
Okay.
site, it wasn't a site that was used for, you know,
Okay,
auto repair or industrial uses, so
okay.
they
It was
followed,
just an
they
eyesore
followed
for a long
whatever,
time.
you know, requirements that
Okay.
the building department and
just
the
asking.
zoning board requires.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else
That's
have
it.
any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
You got a motion, do I have a second? Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Yep.
That's unanimous. Next on the agenda, new business not reasonably anticipated. Doug?
Thanks, Mike. We do have one item which I brought to the board's attention just before the meeting started, and I'll ask the Assistant Town Administrator to hop up while I just give a brief introduction and try to tee it up for her. We were recently made aware that the Board of Sewer Commissioners in town have applied through Congressman Keating to the federal government to apply for a federal earmark to help them with their efforts to generate funding for significant upgrades and replacement at the wastewater treatment plant. As they were pursuing that, they needed a little bit of assistance getting some letters of support from other entities like the South Shore Chamber, and our Assistant Administrator, Courtney, came from that organization, had some good contacts, so she was able to help them with that. And then we were just made aware that as a condition of this earmark, Congressman Keating's office is requiring some additional information, and one of them is a formal letter of support from the Board of Selectmen for the Board of Sewer Commissioners' request for this earmark. So I'll turn it over to Courtney. She has drafted a letter for you to consider tonight. Time is of the essence. That's why it's under other new business, not reasonably anticipated, because we just learned about it, and the letter is due tomorrow if it's going to be submitted at all. So time is of the essence. With that, I'll turn it over to Courtney.
All right, thanks, Doug. As Doug mentioned, the Rockland Board of Sewer Commissioners contacted us not too long ago to let us know that they were working with their engineering firm to explore other financial opportunities to do the wastewater treatment plant improvements. And one of the opportunities that was presented by the engineering firm was to go through the congressional earmark process. This is, I think, a pretty standardized form that we would go through, but we have been selected to meet with Congressman Keating's, or we have been selected by Congressman Keating to provide additional information. And as Doug indicated, one of those pieces of support that we do need to provide is a support letter from the town of Rockland itself. And so, as he mentioned, I have put together a draft. I'm happy to talk about it or to, take any feedback or edits to it. Doug did mention we do have a deadline of noon tomorrow. This was a very quick turnaround. We got the notice on Monday, I think around 12 p.m. as well. So I know it's a little bit of a quick turnaround time and a quick decision to make, but I think it's an opportunity for us to have a seat at the table and talk to them about the impact of the wastewater treatment facility's condition on the region and on our own residents, and to be able to discuss it in greater length with our federal delegation. So my professional recommendation would be to submit a letter of support for this opportunity so that we do have a seat at the table and we can have a discussion with them, and we are able to be on their radar for additional federal monies as they come about in the near future. So that's the quick rundown. Happy to answer any questions, any specific questions anybody has.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Yeah, go ahead, Lori.
Yes. So this is essentially for an ask from the federal government, and typically when that happens, you have a minimum ask and a maximum ask. What is their minimum and maximum?
The minimum ask they have put in for is $35 million. I'm sorry, I should have gone back and talked about the actual project that they put forward. They put forward the whole project for the wastewater treatment facility upgrade. Currently, the engineers have said that that's about a $100 million project. And the minimum ask that the sewer commissioners have put in for is $35 million. Again, this is not guaranteed money, but it is an opportunity for us to have a conversation with them about the condition of the plant and its impact on the broader community and region.
Okay, so how did they come up with the $35 million for a minimum?
They actually identified the secondary, this is how I understand it, so I'm not trying to speak on behalf of the Board of Sewer Commissioners, but I have been talking with both Sherry and Mike Buckley about this, and right before they submitted the actual project through the formal process was when they were requesting the letters of support, and they identified the $35 million based on I think they called it the secondary treatment. It's basically to help with the chemical treatment replacing that piece of it. So it's a phase of their longer term upgrade plan. That's how they've identified the $35 million. I can get more specifics about that to you all, but I do believe that it is in the project description that was attached. Again, like, this is all kind of like I'm doing a deep dive really fast, so excuse me for not knowing that right off the top of my head, but
that's okay.
I do believe it's in the project description.
So when I was liaison to the sewer commission and we talked about that piece of equipment that regulates phosphorus,
Yep.
That's not the piece that.
I know, I know, I understand. I know.
Okay.
That piece alone, which can help with not use those type of chemicals, was about 500,000. That was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Okay. My next question is it typical to ask the government for $100 million? In your experience?
It's a great question. I think that if you're going to go to your federal delegation, that you would go to them with a larger project. That's my perspective. But, you know, in full disclosure, like I've never been through this congressional earmark process before, so I'm learning alongside them.
Okay.
And I'm consulting with, you know, my own professional network as to whether or not they think that this is appropriate to ask for the full amount.
Okay.
I think it is helpful to let them know the scope of the project, the scope of the issue here, and I think that that number might be shocking to Congressman Keating and other offices, but it is based on reports that we've received from Wright Pierce, which is their engineering firm, and other studies. So I think it's our duty to share the full scope of the issues at the treatment facility.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also shocked that they're asking for $100 million, because a couple of years ago it was $50 million, then it was $80 million, and now it's $100 million.
Yeah, I can't really speak to that as much.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. My concern is that if we make that ask, we'll be laughed out and just like how, you know, and the reason I'm saying this is because Situate, that has around 2,000 people less than we do in Rockland, just priced out brand new sewer plant. And they have special needs because they're on the ocean, right?
Right.
And it fell between 35 and 50 million.
Yeah.
Okay, I've talked to developers who put in brand new sewer plant in Brockton that has 10 times the amount of people that we do for 90 million. So I'm really pulled on this because, you know, I once saw Bernie Sanders speak, and he said, you know, when you make an ask, you got to ask for the whole sandwich rather than half a sandwich. If you ask for half a sandwich, you get a quarter of the sandwich. You ask for the whole sandwich, you get half the sandwich. In that vein, yes, I do support this.
Yeah.
But if it just, the 100 million just doesn't jive with anything that I've learned or talked to people about. And I don't want Rockland to go down a slippery slope.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics of the other communities that you're mentioning, but I'm happy to do a little bit of research and digging into that. Again, this is like a very tight turnaround time.
I understand.
So
I understand.
I'm trying to work within those constraints.
Yeah,
but
and I'm trying to bring
happy-
up what I've considered to be the right thing. Rockland does not need any more
Yeah, I
scandals.
understand. Yeah.
So,
Yep.
okay. That's it. That's all I got.
So Courtney, you're right in your presentation. I spoke to Commissioner Valley shortly before our meeting, and she explained the project to me, and I told her that I think it'd be a great opportunity for us to ask for this earmark from the federal government. And to your point, you know, the worst they can do is say no, and at least we presented it to them. And I go back to when I was on the finance committee, we'd interview the department heads, and I would ask the department heads, whether or not you think you can get it, put it out there so that we know it's coming. So if we say no this year, then next year it shows up there again. Well, we know it's still something that you need, and we give it that much more attention. So even if this project gets turned down this year, then at least it's been put in front of Congressman Keaton, Senator Warren, Senator Markey, and then next year maybe it might warrant a little bit more consideration, and the year after that, and the year after that potentially. But I don't think it hurts us at all for asking for as little or as much as possible assistance from the federal government. I think they have it, so.
Yeah, I'd agree with you if that was inclusive of the piping in town and not just the sewer plant. I mean, if we don't have the I&I capacity with, how's the plant, a brand-new $100 million plant gonna,
Well, I'm not entirely sure what's listed in the total ask of the 100 million. Some of that could be included in there.
I don't believe it is,
Okay.
but I could be wrong.
Okay. So, with that being said, if nobody has any other questions, I will entertain a motion to support the sewer commissioners on this endeavor and authorize us to submit a letter to Congressman Keating's office. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? All those opposed? Thank you, Courtney. All right, next on the agenda, old business, town meeting recap. Doug?
Thanks, Mike. I'll keep this brief. I just want to highlight for those that were not in attendance at town meeting, a few articles were either passed over or failed. I'll just quickly list those. In the special town meeting, Article 4, which was additional funding for the police station roof and HVAC project, we were able to pass that over because we had sufficient funding on hand when the bids came in. 3 Community Preservation Act articles, numbers 13, 14, and 15, were passed over because the CPA committee wasn't able to meet in time to take the required votes before town meeting. And then lastly, Article 39, the amendments to the town charter, that did not pass. Everything else did pass. In general, my only comments, I'll keep it quick, are just I want to thank the Charter Review Committee. Even though that article didn't pass, they put a lot of time and effort into this. They had a very good proposal, and I just want to thank them for all their efforts. Next, I really want to thank Courtney and Allison, our town planner, for all the work that they did putting together the MBTA community zoning and floodplain zoning, all the community outreach they did. I think it showed good dividends at town meeting. I think people were pretty well informed, and I think this might be a good model for us going forward with lots of engagement, like a month or so before town meeting. I think it was effective, so I want to thank them for those efforts. And then lastly, we only had 183 people attend, voters attend town meeting, and so we were fortunate to get a quorum, but I was a little disappointed in the turnout. It was kind of low, and maybe we can talk at future meetings about ways that we can encourage more people to participate in town meeting. But that's all I had, unless the board would like to add anything more.
Any questions or comments, or should I assume that you'll save it for your closing comments? Okay, thank you, Doug. Appreciate it. Next on the agenda, other old business,
I have none.
town administrators report and correspondence. Doug?
Okay, great. So as I just alluded to a moment ago, we did the bid opening last Wednesday for the police station roof and HVAC project. And just to be clear for the community, we had already done the roof that you see when you look at the police station from the front, the pitched asphalt shingle roof. What we're talking about is the flat rubber membrane roof over the sally port and the whole HVAC system. So we had the bid opening last Wednesday with a variety of different funds on hand. We're awarding that contract. We'll see what the timeline is to get the HVAC unit, but we look forward to getting that done. That is an important capital project. I am pleased to report that we have officially hired our new HR director. The woman's name is Lori Turnchuk. She will be starting on Tuesday, May 28th, the day after Memorial Day holiday. I really want to thank Stacy Callahan, who's no longer with us, but Stacy's agreeing to come in like later this week, even though she's no longer working for the town, to come in and meet with Lori in person to help with the transition, and greatly appreciate that. I'm very excited about this. I think we have a really good person that's going to be coming on board. Once she starts, we'll have her come in, have her introduce herself to all of you. I can show you her resume and application, and I think you'll all be pleased as well. Next, I wanted to highlight that we did sign a contract with a company to replace the large scoreboard at the Veterans Memorial Football Baseball Stadium. And the hope is that it's going to be completely installed in time for the Fox News Zip Trip at the end of June. That's our plan. We want to get that up and running then. Next, as it relates to the emergency shelter, I wanted to highlight that as of today, we have 171 people in the shelter. It's roughly split 50-50 between adults and children. The hotel is basically full, so I don't think that number of people is really going to go up much at all. And an important thing I wanted to highlight for the community is, we were notified recently that we're going to potentially have 9 new students from the shelter come into our school district. After a lot of back and forth and meetings, that number ultimately was lowered down to 3 students. But still, we were upset. When I say we, I mean we as an organization, the school district, town hall, Dr. Cron, myself, because we had an agreement with the State Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities that they understood that we didn't have capacity, both physical capacity in the Phelps School as well as financial capacity to absorb transportation and other expenses. And they assured us that before any school-age children would be placed, that they would communicate with us first, specifically with the school superintendent, to understand if there is capacity, both physical and financial, to be able to absorb these additional students. That didn't happen this past time. So we've been very aggressive in our voicing our concerns all the way up the chain of command with the state. And I just want the community to understand that, because I think sometimes there's a perception that we're just kind of rolling over and we're just accepting what's happening without fighting for Rockland and fighting for taxpayers. And we absolutely are. And we're going to the point now where Dr. Cron and I are going to be meeting with the governor's office soon, within the next few weeks, to make this case personally. So I just want the board and the community to know that, this is out of our control, but we are doing everything we can to look out for the financial interests of the town. Next, I wanted to highlight that the South Shore Tech building project, South Shore Regional Vocational Technical School, we've talked about this before, they have a large building project. They have set the date for their regional election. It's going to be January 25th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So I'll be reporting out on this a lot more between now and then. In particular, I have a conference call set up with bond counsel because I want to understand very clearly, so I can put it in writing for you to understand as well, exactly what the rules are as far as when we could put a debt exclusion question on a ballot, when a town meeting could be held, there's legal timeframes for how far before or after town meetings and ballots these things can be held, because as we discussed previously, my recommendation, and I think the board agrees, is to have the most information available for the voter when they go to that regional ballot, to understand that this new school building, if it were to pass, is not free, and this would result in a significant, very significant tax increase for Rockland residents. So it only makes sense to have that financial decision presented to voters at the same time that programmatic decision is put on the ballot, because the South Shore Tech regional ballot doesn't include any financing. It's just, do you want a new regional technical school or not? So I've been working with the other neighboring communities that are part of the district. I think pretty much everyone's on the same page, looking to do a similar thing. So more to come. The main point there is that the date has been set for January 25th. And then lastly, now that we got through town meeting, I'm going to take a couple days off for vacation. I'll be out starting tomorrow, which is Wednesday, and I'll be back the following Tuesday, the 14th. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Doug. Next on the agenda, Selectmen's comments. Comments and opinions expressed by individual members do not necessarily reflect the views of the Board of Selectmen and are the opinions and comments of only the individual member. Select Board Member Elwood?
Yeah, there's a couple things. Probably should have said this during the talk about the SOAR. I want to say how grateful I am that the SOAR commissioners are looking kind of outside the box and managed to get on the congressman's radar screen. I think that's an incredible accomplishment, and that's something that I wholeheartedly support and hope that we actually can get something from that. Secondly, I want to congratulate Courtney and Allison on the tremendous job they did getting the MBTA pushed through. Heard only good things about it. So all the different sessions that you had, you definitely made an impact there. Charter Committee, I was only on there for a meeting or two, but I do feel your pain for putting in 18 months worth of work to have it not come to fruition. We do appreciate your time and effort that went into that. And then finally, I want to thank the people who came out to town meeting. At the last meeting, I mentioned that, we make recommendations, but you make the decisions. And 183, did you say, people made the decisions for the town for not only this year, but for, a longer period. So come out to town meeting. This would be my advice going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Select Person Childs?
Yes, I would like to congratulate Delhi in the Health Department for today attaining an $80,000 grant from MAPC, the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, for the South Shore Regional Household Hazardous Waste Program. Typically, it's in the spring and the fall, but since she attained that, we're the hosts, and now it's going to be all year long. So, good job, Delhi, on that. And again, Allison and Courtney, girl power, no, it's a fantastic job. And about the charter review, I was so disappointed that didn't pass. The reason I ran for this board, and it's still the reason I'm on the board, is trying to lower our property taxes. And my good friend that lives in Canton on a lake, same square footage house as mine, pays $5,700 a year. I pay almost 10 grand. And I'm not on a lake, but anyway. And that's what I keep fighting for, but I've learned on this board that change is slow as molasses. And the best way to lower everyone's property taxes and take them out of pain, or all of us out of pain financially, is to change the ratio of the residential to business properties in town. So John Ellard and I were emphatic about people stepping up to run, so we don't have the same unopposed people running year after year. And that's because sometimes people get on these boards and don't know what goes on in that department. And it was evidenced at town meeting yesterday or last night. So, running unopposed is the norm. In order to get the best people, I think that the appointed positions that were mentioned last night is a good idea. It doesn't take away people's choices. It will actually save us a lot of money in the long run. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Laurie. Select Person Shortall?
I echo the statements that you did a fantastic job presenting. I think that once you presented it, it made sense to people. And I think that's what we are trying to do, is have everyone understand, have it make sense to people, and you did an excellent job. As far as only 183 voters coming out, it's been a problem every year for as long as I can remember. We've had to lower the number of the quorum because people don't understand that if you don't come and vote for either elections or town meeting, then you can't complain about the problems if you're not going to work toward the solution. So I have said it every year since I have been here, and I'm hoping that people are paying attention to what's going on in the whole country and seeing that, again, if you don't step up and work toward a solution, you can't complain about the problem. But I'll get off my soapbox now.
Thank you, Donna. I'll just echo the same sentiments as the rest of the board. I just want to thank everybody that was involved, boards, committees, staffers that were involved over the last year, 18 months going back, that put all the hard work into preparing a concise town meeting warrant and presentation of the articles last night. There's some disappointment, obviously, but we'll live to fight another day, and that I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Select Person Childs?
Yes.
Select Person Shortall?
Yes.
Select Person Howard?
Yes.
And myself. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.